Hello everyone and welcome back to another video in our Autodesk Inventor professional tutorial. In this video, we're going to talk about the insert constraints. So we're going to design some simple objects. We're going to take them to our assembly mode and use the insert constraint to basically constrain our assembly. So let's go to the drop-down menu from the top left and go to the part mode. In the part mode, we're going to start a new sketch and select XY plane. And on the XY plane, this time we use the rectangles a lot here. Slots are very commonly used. We haven't talked about the polygon, so let's use that in this video. In the polygon menu, you have two options. One, basically, you can see it in the images as well. One allows you to draw the polygon from the corner. The other one is from the midpoint between two corners. So I'm going to select that second option. And you can enter how many sides you want. Default value is 6. You can change that, but I'm going to keep it as 6. Go to the origin point, start drawing our polygon. I'm going to let it kind of latch onto this part here. And that's our polygon. Right click, OK. Let's start dimensioning this. You can see it from the bottom right corner that it requires 2 dimensions. So let's just call this 20 millimeters. And I see that, people who are starting to learn a CAD software run into this a lot. They don't know what the second dimension is. As you get familiarity with the software, you can do this pretty quickly. But say you couldn't figure out what to dimension next. So let's say you dimension this, for example, and you get an error saying that this is over constrained. So it is asking for some kind of a different dimension. And if you want to understand what Autodesk Inventor is asking from you, again, as we talked about it in the previous videos, you can always hold a side or a corner and try to drag it around to see what is still needed. So, for example, if I hold this and try to drag it around, it doesn't move. And if I hold this and drag it around, it doesn't move. But if I hold a corner here and try to drag it around, it moves because that means that this kind of rotates and it needs some constraint to prevent that from happening. So I'm just going to hit Control Z on my keyboard and go back to the original state. And maybe I'll just draw a line here, starting from the midpoint of the top side and midpoint of the bottom side, and then maybe make that a construction geometry. It is still not constrained, but now I'm going to apply the vertical constraint to this line. Now it's not going to move around because this construction line basically constrains that rotation because I applied a vertical constraint to it. And you can do this in different ways too, but I just wanted to point that out. So also, let's draw a center point circle here from the origin point. Let's say this is 10 millimeters and finish 2D sketch. And now let's add material to it. Let's say this is a 5 millimeter extrusion. So that's done now. Part one is created. So it's something very simple. So let's start assembly now. And again, just like the part mode, Autodesk Inventor will just assign a default name to this assembly, assembly1, until you save it. So I'm just going to keep it like that. I'm not saving these because this is just an exercise. So I'm going to go back to my part one, select it, Control C on my keyboard, and come back to assembly and Control V and paste that part. So copy paste. Notice that it is grounded because it's my first component that I added to my assembly. I want another one of these, so I'm going to hold the icon here and drag and drop so I have the second iteration of the part one. Now I want to design another component which is going to be kind of like a rod, like a shaft in the middle. So let's go back to the part mode again. That's going to create part two. And let's go to new sketch, XY plane, and right click menu, center point circle, and use the origin point and draw a circle that is 10 millimeters in diameter. Let's finish 2D sketch and extrude. Let's say this is 50 millimeters long. So now this component is also created. Again, let's Control C and copy this and go back to our assembly and Control V. Now our shaft is also available in our assembly. So now I want to constrain this using the Insert Constraint option. Let's right click, go to Constraint, and default selection is Mate. We covered this, Mate and Flush constraints, and we have two selections, two solutions. The fourth option here is the Insert Constraint. Notice that you also have two selections and two solutions. So, and these selections are red, highlighted with red. That means that Autodesk Inventor is waiting for some kind of input from you. So you need to select the first one and you need to select the second one. So now notice that with the insert constraint, I cannot highlight the edges or surfaces, but I can highlight the hole in the middle. And the axes of that hole also appeared. So I'll select that and I'll go to the rod and you can see the axes of the in the middle of the shaft as well. You can select that component. Notice that it constrained it, but it constrained it on this side. So I want it to go back to the other side. This is a toggle. So you can go to the solutions and select aligned, and that will basically move the shaft to the other side. Now let's apply this and cancel and just get out of that command and take a look at what we have accomplished. Let's expand these parts on the assembly on the left side. And you can see that insert constraint is applied between part one and part two. Part one, but second iteration doesn't have that constraint because we haven't applied it yet. But notice that I was able to do this with one constraint method. With flush and mate, I would have had to use like two constraints to accomplish this. So insert constraint helps me to be more efficient and saves time, and also makes my assembly simpler and easier to control down the road when the assembly gets complicated with many components. So now let's do the second thing for the other side. So let's right click, hit constraint, and again, select insert constraint and select this hole here, and then select this shaft here. Let's rotate a little bit and take a look at what it did. See, notice that it's not flush on this side, and that's what I want. It was flush on this side with the first constraint, so I want to accomplish the same thing on this side as well. Again, it's a toggle. I click on aligned, and that does that for me. So now let's hit apply, and this constraint is also in the assembly. Notice that it also appeared between part one, but second iteration, and part two. You can see the insert two, and insert two is also inserted. So now, just to be able to separate it, I want to assign some colors to it. I'm going to select this and hit Control button and hold down the Control button and select the second one. Hit this Adjust button on the top and select maybe this light blue color. Select the shaft in the middle. Hold down Control button. I don't have to hold down the Control button because I don't have to select another one. So I'm going to select Adjust and maybe something like a purple color. So you can now see that it is flush on this side and it is flush on this side. So this part is grounded. You can see the thumbtack icon. This part, on the other hand, is not grounded. So if I hold this and drag it, it will move around. It will rotate. That means that it is not fully constrained on that aspect. So we can use a flush constraint to accomplish that. Right click, hit constraint, and select flush constraint in the mate type, and you can select this surface with this surface. That will constrain those two components as well. And then let's just exit out of that menu as well. Now it should not move around. And that way we were able to accomplish this assembly just using minimal quantity of constraints. So the insert constraint, like I said, gives us more control because we are using less features to accomplish our task, our design goals. And also it makes this assembly simpler. And we're going to talk about the other constraint types in the other videos. But in the meantime, please don't forget to subscribe and like the videos. But the best way you can support the channel is by recommending the channel to your friends who want to learn CAD software. Thank you.